At that moment, I thought I had lost my child. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my birth story. My traumatic birth story. I mean, this may not sound as traumatic to you as you want it or you think, but in my opinion, this is my traumatic birth story. And before I talk about it, a little disclaimer: if you're an expectant mother, a pregnant woman, or planning to get pregnant anytime soon, please, this is not the video for you. And if you are so uncomfortable with traumatic stuffs, this is a total no. This is not the video for you. Okay, so this video is just going to be about me talking about my birth story. And before I go to the main story, I'd like to share a little advice. Please, as women, as ladies, please do not go and ask your fellow woman or your fellow friend when she's gonna have babies. That's so uncalled for. That's so uncivilized. That's so barbaric, disgusting. People are going through a lot. So if you go and add salt to his or her injuries, I don't think it's right. It really hurts for someone who has been through it before. I mean, I expected that strangers would actually do that, but people I call my friends did that to me. And the most hurtful of it all was actually my best friend. Someone I called my best friend. People go through a lot. So as my best friend, I was, actually thinking you would stay by me and fight an outsider who would actually do that to me, but he was my friend, best friend. Okay, so yeah, my bad story. Getting pregnant, I was so in denial about it that I had to check about 4 times. And to think of it, I checked 4 times, and up to date I still have my test strips. I haven't thrown them away. I have one, I don't know if I can show it. It tested positive. The second one, it tested positive. The third one, it tested positive. And the final one, it also tested positive. I was still in denial even after these 4 test strips. So I had to go to the hospital the following day. I went to my gynecologist. He said, have you tested? I said, yeah. He said, how many times? I said, 4 times. He said, and why are you still here? I said, because I want to be sure. And he laughed. He said, okay, get on it. I did. He checked. He said, look on the screen. That's your child. At that moment, I'll never forget that moment. Everything in me relaxed. I felt like jumping, screaming, rolling on the floor. It was the most beautiful moment I've ever experienced. So, back to my birth story. It was a beautiful Sunday morning, as usual. And, I had my breakfast. I talked to a few friends. I didn't go to church because I couldn't drive to church. I was in my 39th week, and my pregnancy was smooth. Like I said, I had the most beautiful pregnancy ever. the only thing that worried me during my pregnancy was when I had to throw up throughout the 9 months, and that was the only foods I could eat were juices, biscuits, and that was all. And it affected my blood, whatever, there were inconsistencies in my blood level. Anytime I went to the hospital, they had to do test upon test and all that. And then my weight dropped drastically. Before I got pregnant, I was 90 kg, and to my 39th week, I was 79 kg. And it worried my doctor so bad. He was concerned about the child. So, and he was so worried about my weight and the child. So he checked the child, and then he said, okay, the child is fine, the baby's fine, and you're supposed to try and take in a lot of greens, because I don't like where your blood level has dropped to. It's called is it HB? I've forgotten the name, but he said he didn't like how it had dropped, because as a normal pregnant woman, I was supposed to have 12 and above, but mine was 9, and he didn't like it. And so we had to be on blood tonics, blood tablets, and whatnot. So I think my last appointment, the appointment before my last appointment, we went to the hospital. Thankfully, I had my mom with me, so we went to the hospital, and during the normal checkups, he said, Joe, we're gonna have to go in for an elective CS. And one advice, as a pregnant woman, an expectant woman, or anybody out there, trying to get pregnant anytime soon, the very first thing you should have at the back of your mind when you get pregnant is a birth plan. As a pregnant woman, you're supposed to know how you want to give birth. People go in for elective CS, others want a normal birth. So you're supposed to have a birthing plan or a birth plan. Having a birth plan, the most important thing is to have a backup plan, because anything might happen. I have a birth plan. I wanted to go in for the normal birth. There was nothing like CS in my dictionary. There was nothing like CS in my birth plan. So when he said that, I actually froze. I was still on the bed, but I was frozen, and he could see that I was worried sick. Like, I didn't like their idea, and it was due to reasons I would like to keep personal. So he said, okay, what we have to do is we'd have to improve whatever it is that was blocking my chance of going through the normal birth. We have to improve it, and after we do, we can think of going through the normal birth. Mind you, I was still in my 39 weeks, and thankfully I went with my mom, and then she tapped me and she said, Enyashi, literally meaning it's all right, because people actually going for elective CS, and then thank God the new CS that is in doesn't require for general anesthesia. It's just they numb your down part. I was scared. Who? Me? Having to go through CS, knives and all that, half awake throughout the process. I was so scared. So during my last appointment, I went, and then he said, look, you've really improved on whatever I asked you to do, and we can go in for the normal birth, but let's have it at the back of our minds that anything can happen. Sorry, anything can happen. So I said, okay. So that's Sunday, and my expectant date actually was on the 19th of June 2021. So my last appointment at my doctor's was on the 11th of June 2021. And so that Sunday was the 13th of June 2021. So fast forward to the evening, I didn't have, no contractions, no twitches, there was nothing like a twitch or something of that sort that I could feel that I was actually going to go into labor the following day. So at the back of my head, I knew that I was going to go in on the 19th of June 2021. But when I went to my doctor's, he said from now till the 19th, anything can happen. But I still hadn't prepared myself for that. Now to the 19th, I had already prepared my mind for the 19th. So because I thought I was going to give birth on the 19th of June. So I actually was in a bad mood that Sunday evening, which was on the 13th of June. My mom caught me crying, and then she said, look, this isn't good for your condition now. I mean, you're not supposed to be crying. Whatever it is, just shove it off, because you are in no better state to be crying now. So I just thought I wanted to go to bed. I came to my bedroom, I took my bath. I think it was around 10 p.m. I took my bath, and then I went straight to bed. I found it difficult sleeping a little bit, but I eventually did. As at 12 p.m. this is actually the funny part. There was this I would say peed on my bed. So I hurriedly got up from my bed, and I was like, oh my god, I peed on my bed. And I took a bedspread, and then I put it where the pee was. Then I went to my bathroom and I washed myself down. Immediately I stepped out of my bathroom, the water kept coming again. And as up until that time, I had no idea what a water, how it felt like for your water to break or something of that sort. So I still had it at the back of, I was still saying that, oh my god, why am I peeing this hard? And I went back into my bathroom, and then I washed myself again, and I stepped out. That was the moment I realized my water had broken. The water was dripping. It was dripping so hard. It was dripping. I don't know how to explain it for you to understand, but then it was dripping so hard. So I called my mom on phone. She didn't pick up. I called her again, and I could see she was far asleep. And then I said, come take a look at something. She said, okay, so I don't know whether we have to go to the hospital now or we have to wait a little bit. So she called my sister, and she called her, and then my sister came in, and she said, no, we have to get going now, because from the way the water is dripping, we have to go now. I wish I knew something about pregnancy. I wish I knew that you don't have to go to the hospital the moment your water breaks. You can actually stay at home until your contraction starts. We got to the hospital around 1 a.m. My car seat was soaked. It was wet. I got down, and it was dripping again. So the nurse came, and then she said, I have to check your vitals. I said, I am dripping. She said, if I don't get your vitals, I can, there's nothing I can do about it. I said, okay. So I sat down with just one butt on the chair, and I was still, dripping. So she finished, and then the midwife came in, and then she said, oh, it's labor. Okay, let's get her to the labor ward. So I went, and then they gave me hospital clothing, and they gave me sanitary pad to use so that I could, actually stop wetting myself and soaking the beds and tables and chairs and all that. All that. So the worst part of it, she came and then she said, I need to check your service. Oh my god, that thing hurt. That thing hurt so bad. So she inserted her, is it finger, I think, and I started screaming. I screamed so loud, I think I screamed out of my lungs. And she said, you're just 2 centimeters dilated. So I said, okay. So then the contraction started. She told the nurse to prepare my room. I had actually booked for a private room, because I wanted my privacy with my baby and my family. And then, So the nurse actually went to prepare my room, and she took me to my room. She ran my bath, and then she asked me, do you want to take in anything? I said, I'm okay. And then she said, no, I have to get you something. I said, okay. So she got me a hot chocolate. I took it, and my mom was there, my sister was there, and then I didn't tell my husband anything. I didn't tell him anything. So the contraction started. I think they were 5 minutes apart. I didn't actually check. I didn't have to hell with the app that used to check. They used to check the contractions. I didn't care about it. So my sister was cracking jokes. We would laugh about it. Out contract, we would just be laughing about it. And it was 8 a.m. I still had not given birth, and the contractions were getting intense. So my nurse came, my actual nurse, she came in and she said, oh, what time did you come here? I said 1 a.m. She said, oh no, you're supposed to wait a little bit. She talked at length, and then she said, okay, come, you have to walk around, go up the stairs, and then come down. That would help, service open a little bit more. So I did as I was told. She told me to go around, not sleep, not do this, not do that. They came back for me and took me to the labor ward, and they checked me again. I was just, I think, 4 centimeters dilated, and then it was the worst of it. I mean, giving birth is difficult, but when they have to check your cervix, is really crazy. So my nurse said, okay, I'm gonna induce you. So she did her thing, and still, mind you, my doctor was not informed that I had come in the night or during the night. So I think the nurses or the midwife thought I could, actually, because I had a birth plan, so she thought I wanted to stick to the birth plan. In fact, I did anyway. So when the doctor came around 11, I had been to the hospital I had gone to the hospital at 1 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 10 hours. I had still not given birth. So my doctor came, and then I don't know what happened between he and the nurses, and he came in and he said, I have to check your cervix again. And he did. And I think I was still 4 centimeters dilated. My world came crashing. Like, after everything I had to do, after being induced, he said, okay, I have to listen to, no, he told them to give me some IVs to help speed up the contractions, make active labor happen, and thin my cervix, soften it so that I could dilate, quickly, so that I could go through the normal birth. They gave me 3 IVs. It still was not working. I think my child was stubborn. So he said, okay, I'd have to inject you with, I don't think it was a epidural. I didn't go in for a epidural. So they injected me with something, and then he came back and he said, I have to listen to the child's heartbeat, the baby's heartbeat. And he did. And it was so faint, like you couldn't hear a thing. At that moment, sorry guys, at that moment I thought I had lost my child. I don't wish that for any other mother. But when he checked my baby's heartbeat, it was so low. It was so low that he even panicked. I could see it in my doctor's eyes. He was scared. So he went out and he came back and he said, let's get her prepared for an emergency CS. And because I had a backup plan, I really didn't care about it. All I cared was getting my baby out and getting him to safety. I wanted my baby out. I wanted him out. I wanted him alive. My child, my baby, I wanted him. So anything, absolutely anything I had to do, I was ready to do. And then I've not talked about my husband in this picture because I didn't want my husband to panic. He was sick. So around 8, when I was in labor, I called him on phone and I said, hey, how are you? He said, I'm fine. And I said, oh, you're still asleep. He said, okay. I said, I was just calling to check up on you. I mean, yeah, I just woke up and I wanted to see how you were doing today because you weren't feeling well the previous day when I talked to you. And he said he was fine. So I didn't tell him I was at the hospital. I didn't tell him I was in labor. So it was my mom. My doctor had to, ask for the go-ahead to go do the CS. And my mom signed her consent, whatever. And they brought the consent form to me. At this moment, I was in excruciating pain because of the IVs they had given to me, to speed up contractions. The contractions were so intense. I was in excruciating pain. I remember screaming. And then one thing I said to myself that I just didn't want to do, I prayed to God about it, was not to curse anybody, was not to, not to say any cursing words, not to say any, any cursing words. I think the only thing I said was, God damn it. Yeah. But I was in excruciating pain, and then my mom came in and then she said, don't cry. But when you cry, meaning they'll be done before you realize it. The child's heartbeat is fainting. It's going down. Don't cry. You are just gonna is going to go away the moment you hear your child cry. I said, okay. So I signed my consent form and they got me ready for the theater. And my anesthesiologist was nowhere to be found. I mean, this is a sad story, but I don't want to cry about it. I don't want to be a crybaby about it, because looking back at it, it was just the most intense moment. My anesthesiologist was not at a hospital. They had to keep calling him, calling, and eventually he didn't keep long anyway, so he came and they prepared me for the theater. And then my nurse said, I wish, on our way to the theater, you just get him out. They were wishing, hoping, and I said, I couldn't even say anything. All I said was, I'm in pain. So they took me to the theater and they stripped me naked. At the moment, I didn't really care. It didn't matter. So I was asked to sit up, and I think they gave me the epidural. Was it the epidural? I think they gave me, I don't know what it is, but that was to numb my lower part. The moment they did that, they gave it, I had it at the back here, I think my spinal cord down there. The moment they did that, I saw my amniotic fluid. The moment they did that, he gave me that shot, I saw my amniotic fluid. And I remember looking at my nurse, and she nodded. She said, look down. I looked down and I nodded. And I could see her, she looked disappointed, because she had hoped and wished that I could, go the normal way. So I laid back down and they said, can you feel your legs? My legs were so heavy. They were heavy. And they said, we need to start this now, because the baby's losing it. And they caught me. I felt it. It was sharp. I felt it. I felt the pain. I felt that they had actually, cut me. My mom had previously told me that you feel nothing. You can't feel the pain. But I felt it. So as they cut layer by layer, I felt every cut. And I told my anesthesiologist, I said, I feel the pain. It is painful. So my doctor said, increase whatever it is they gave me. I don't know. I think I was hyper. I started laughing, even though I was in pain. And I think they thought I was just, joking about it. So they kept on doing their thing. And for the sake of my son, I tolerated the pain. So did their work, and the midwife got my son up, and then he said, and she said, sorry. Can you see him? I'm sorry. She said, sorry. This is your son. And then my son was crying so hard. I could feel that he had actually suffered because it had taken long for him to come out. About 13 hours of labor, my son was finally out. My prince. He was out. And the other midwife brought him, and then she put him here, and then she said, look at your son. The moment they brought him out, I started crying. So the doctor was confused, and then he said, why are you still in pain? And I could hear my anesthesiologist say, no, it's tears of joy. Yeah. He said, no, go on. It's tears of joy. So my midwife brought him, and then she said, look at your son. I couldn't look at him, so I looked away. I know I was supposed to give him a kiss. I know I was supposed to, just look at him and say, oh my God. But I was thanking him in my head. Thank you for staying alive. Thank you for having the patience. Thank you for coming. All I was doing, even though I was in pain, I was in excruciating pain. The pain was so... I can't describe it. But I was just thanking my son for staying just a little longer. And having all the patience in the world to meet Mama. So they took my son away. In another, traumatic experience. Everything started to become white. I remember, laughing. I was so hyper. Everything, I was looking at the ceiling and everything was turning white, and I think my BP was dropping, and then my midwife, she got so confused, she got worried, and then she said, oh, her BP's dropping. And then I could see my doctor turn, he did a quick turn, and he said, sorry, he said, what's happening? So amidst it all, I could hear my anesthesiologist say, carry on, she's fine. So every layer layer they stitched, I felt it. And I wanted it to be done quickly. I was so much in pain. Every layer they stitched, I felt it. Every layer they stitched, I felt it. It was about 3 or 4 layers. I felt every pain that I was supposed to feel. And then at that moment, I could hear myself saying, my mom lied to me. She lied to me. She said, you know, it wasn't gonna be painful, but then, hey, it is painful. I was feeling it. So, at long last, and thank goodness, they finished with the stitching. So, it was time for them to transfer me back to my private room. All I remember was they taking me from the theater bed onto the stretcher, and that was it. I blacked out. From the theater to my private room, I blacked out. I didn't see a thing. And when they took me to my room and then they put me on my bed, I could see a blur vision, and I think that was my sister. I could see her, but you know, I think I was in my own world at that time. And then she bent and then she said, "You've given birth to the most handsome, tallest human being." My heart melted. And my nurse, she came back and then she gave me a shot. I think that was a painkiller because she knew I was gonna need it. So she gave me a shot. And after my sister said that, I blacked out again. I think I went to sleep. So when I got up, brought my son, and my mom was holding him, and my sister cracked a joke, so I laughed about it. Oh, I was so thirsty. I wasn't hungry, but I was so thirsty. So I asked my nurse, and then she said, no, you can't have anything until it's about 7 p.m. They brought me back from the theater around 1 p.m., 1 to 2. So my exact time of birth was 1:05 or 1:13. So yeah, after they finished with stitching and everything, I think I got to my room around 2, and around when I woke up, I think it was around 3:34. So my nurse said, you can't take water until it's like 7 o'clock. And I said, okay. I was still numb. My lower part was still numb. I couldn't feel a thing. So she came around 7, and then she said, you can't have your bath, but I want you to get up. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. She said, I'm not gonna help you. I want you to get up. I'm helping you because you need to do this on your own. And my son was so beautifully asleep. He was sound asleep. I mean, he had the most peaceful sleep I could ever imagine. I've never seen such peaceful sleep before, and my son had that. So I looked at my son and I said, okay, I'm gonna do this for him. Since he did that for me, I need to stay healthy for him. So I got up. It took, I wouldn't say I just got up. It took minutes. Getting up from the bed to sit down took minutes. Getting up from, sitting up took minutes. Taking my first step took minutes. I didn't just do it at a go. So she said, I want you to walk to your bathroom and come back. And I said, okay, I can do it. So I held onto my bed and I took my first few more steps. And I did it. It was so painful, but I did it. And I came back and then she clapped for me. She said, well done. So I don't think I actually slept that night because I was just looking at my baby. He was so handsome. He had the most prettiest eyes, beautiful nose, not like mine. His nose was so beautiful. He had the most gorgeous lips. I want to describe him in a way that yes, but my son was so handsome. And the following day, my doctor came around to do the normal checkups and he said, oh, you look healthy, and he said, okay, you'd have to get, it was actually my midwife who came in late and she said, you have to get some sleep. I said, okay. So at dawn, before the next day, I WhatsApped my friend around 5 and she replied around 7. I'm gonna share the chat, and we actually chat for a few minutes before I told her I had given birth. And then she was so happy. She was so happy. She started asking, are you okay? Are you fine? Then I called my twinnie. Mind you, my friends, some of my family members, they never got to see me throughout my 9 months pregnancy. So my friends actually didn't know I was pregnant. I hid it from everybody. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I had to do that, but then I had to do it for me. I know, we have our ups and downs, but I'm glad I have you guys in my life. You are family, and then we understand each other so well. I'm most grateful to have you all as my family, and it's for life. So I called my twinnie and I video called her and I put it on my baby, and she started screaming and crying, and she said, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, where are you? I am driving to that place immediately. I told her, because of COVID you can come around. She cried. She actually did cry, and I told her I was sorry that I kept her away from her, but she knew what I had to go through, and I wanted to do this for me, and she understood it. I called my brother, my friend, but my brother. I called him and I video called him as well, and he was shocked. He said, when did you get pregnant? I said, yeah, I had to do this for me. And he was so happy. I called my cousin, I video called her, and then she said, I knew it. I knew it. And I said, yeah. And then she said, oh, he's so cute. I said, yeah, I make cute babies, you know. So yeah, I didn't get much of sleep, and the nurse came back in the afternoon, and then she told me you would have to do some exercise so that you can get, you know, healthy soon to be discharged from the hospital. And I said, okay. So I had to do walks in the morning. So I think, you know, I stayed at the hospital for just 3 days and I was good to go. I came home and it was the normal stuff, and within a week my stitches came out. I had to go, you know, my stitches came out. The nurse said, oh, it had healed, you know, beautifully, and I was good to go. So I felt absolutely zero pain after that traumatic C-section, but aside that, I couldn't feel, you know, pain that much. I was doing basically everything at home. Even though I didn't have the strength of a normal person, I was still going about my everyday life. I didn't get the chance to, you know, rest and then be pampered. I wish I did, but I actually didn't like that, so I wanted to do everything on my own. And my sister she was amazed, because she said she had seen people going for C-sections and, you know, they would come back so how do I call it, they will come back different. But and I said, invest in a good doctor. I want to use this opportunity to thank my doctor. He's actually the professor for the medical school, KNUST. Thank you, Professor Danso. You did an amazing job. Without you, I might have lost my son. So thank you so much for, you know, having me and my son at heart, and for doing your job as a doctor and a father. Thank you so much. Thank you to all the nurses, midwives, every worker at the hospital. This is my birth story. If you haven't given birth yet, don't feel down. At the right time, it's gonna be beautiful. Trust me. I used to cry a lot. And then my husband said, why are you crying? I don't mind going through, you know, heaven and earth for you. I can afford IVFs, but I'm much concerned about you, because you would have to put your life on hold for a child. When you have an IVF, you would have to put your life on hold, everything, work, everything on hold to have a child. And it takes a village sometimes to get a baby. He said, I would afford everything for your sake, but can you? So I want to thank him as well, and my family. You guys are the real MVPs. Thank you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you'll be notified whenever I post new videos. I'm gonna be doing a video on baby essentials very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope you learned something from it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, or comment, and feel free to ask me anything in the comment section. I would answer. So bye. Have fun, guys.